love what I do. Welcome to the show. This is the Financial Wellness Hour. I am Hirsch Serman, and I am thrilled to have you join us on WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. This show is for those wanting to learn more about creating financial wellness. And we're going to look at things both emotionally and financially, because I think the more healthy you are emotionally, the better you tend to make financial decisions. Well, all decisions really, but it all stems from being emotionally healthy and being able to work through the issues and adversity we face. We're going to be somewhat general in our discussion, so we'd love to hear from you. So please reach out to me. You can reach me through my website, lifecycle.financial. That's lifecycle.financial. Or you can post your comments, questions on Facebook, YouTube, or the dozens of other platforms that you might be listening to us on. You know, we've spoken about divorce a lot, and we focus on it, and it's a difficult process, and it's great to find a lot of information out there. I do want to stress, though, it needs to be relevant for your situation. If you're going to rely on information, make sure it's not pertinent to somebody in a different state, and I mean that physically, I mean that emotionally as well. It's always better to try to go through a divorce amicably, but unfortunately, that's not always the case. Not all divorces are. Some are actually quite contentious and even abusive. And sometimes, just a heads up, if you're going through one, as you're dealing with a difficult personality and has somebody who's been in control for the marriage, as you get closer to the end, sometimes those games become more and more as they're playing games to clutch and try to maintain more control, as they know they're going to lose that control at the end of the process. So whether you're divorcing a narcissist or not, unfortunately, these are some of the games that you have to deal with. Fortunately, we have an amazing guest today, Tracy Malone, who I believe is probably somebody who has done more research on contentious divorces and narcissism than anyone I've probably ever met, and continues to add to her website, to her resources that she has. Tracy, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Before you say hi, I just got to kind of give you some accolades. I know you've written many books. I know that you have put programs together, courses together. You're a presenter. You've created the Narcissist Abuse Support. And the one line that has stuck with me since the first time I saw it years ago is that you like to talk about being a survivor. I love that. Tracy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you back.
Thank you so much, Hirsch. I love being with you. This is so much fun, even if it is early in the morning.
I should be thanking you for that. Yes, this is live. And Tracy got up, I think, before the dawn got up. So I
got a good a sunrise picture, though. So that was worth it.
That's beautiful. There's always a silver lining or a sunrise, right? So I'm going to ask, can you share a little bit of your story? Because I think there's a lot of passion that comes out of there, but it helps people just kind of understand sometimes when they have adversity, what they can overcome or what they can accomplish. So if you can share a little bit of your story, that would be amazing.
Sure. So I did not know what a narcissist was my entire life until about 12 years ago. Although once I discovered it, I discovered that was who I divorced. That was who I married another time. That was my parents, my family. It all came cascading down that the reason I married them was because I didn't know what they were. It was normal to me. You know, my family was all a whole pile of narcissists, and I knew they were crazy, but I didn't know beyond that. So when I started, I went through a horrific divorce. The judge called it the worst, most contentious divorce in our town's history. And no one ever said the word. 7 trials, no one ever said, hey, this isn't normal. And so it was on the crazy Richter scale for sure. But it was a couple of years later, after dating another narcissist, that someone said the word. I looked it up and went, oh my gosh. And my whole life came like a movie. Oh my God, look what happened. So I decided to start support groups and help others because I didn't know how I had been so old and no one told me, not my lawyer, not my therapist. It was crazy. So I just started researching to educate my groups that I started and helping people. So that's where I am.
It's fantastic because you have really helped so many people through the years. I know that you've got dozens of thousands of subscribers, which is amazing as well. And I encourage anyone listening who's not a subscriber, go on the website, subscribe. But one of the things I also just quickly want to point out, which I think is so important, and too many people don't do it. They jump into another relationships too often before doing the work. You don't understand what happened and you don't do the work, you're going to repeat history.
And that's
so I'm glad that you even mentioned that part, because that in itself is a worthy takeaway beyond all the rest. So, and we were speaking before the show about, the buzzwords, and people throw these things out, and contentious divorce and narcissist. And I think sometimes we've become desensitized, quite honestly, to these words in two ways. One, because they just thrown about. The other one is sometimes you've gone through a divorce, and maybe it's a 20-year divorce, and you become desensitized because that's the only, as you put it, the only behavior I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of set up a framework, I guess, can you talk a little about what is a contentious divorce?
Well, high conflict divorces are really common these days. I have people in a 7-year divorce right now, about 6 million in the hole for that legally. And contentious divorces are that particular case. They are going to the appeals court for every decision about support, about the piano. Everything goes to the appeals court. That's contentious. That's crazy. Not all of them are that bad. I personally had 7 trials. 7 trials. I felt like I was on a murder trial. It was like, what did we do? Just split the money. I already sold the house. It's not your kid. Have a nice day. Goodbye. But it was that I've got to publicly smear her. I've got to pretend she stole. Oh, even if there's no proof, but it was a good trial. Let's tell our friends about it, right? So it can rank up, and it can level people that are in a high contentious divorce, especially because you don't know after 40 years of marriage that they've been hiding money all these years, and it's going to be contentious. No one tells you that if you've been with someone that is this type of personality, that you're going to unravel a whole bunch of stuff that you never imagined about their life. The hiding of money, the affairs, the this, the that, the betrayal in 1,000 different ways. High conflict divorces are torture for people. And unless you have a good lawyer and a good team that is going to financially protect you like you, then you are in trouble. It is a very hard battle without the right team.
And another point you brought up that I want to expand on a little bit, which I think is so important that you said, is having that team. And, you're paying $500, $600, maybe even more on an attorney. They're not a therapist. They're not a divorce coach. They're not a financial professional. You really want to use the right people for the right thing. You don't want to spend, $150 because you spend 10 minutes telling your attorney about something emotional that they're looking at you going, clock's ticking, I'm charging, right? You know that. They don't know how to handle that. They're not trained in it, and it's not their fault. I'm not trying to put them down in any way. I'm certainly not the guy you come to for the emotional. I'm that cold, heartless CDFA CPA guy, right? You want to use the right people for the right thing, and it's going to lower your costs, help you get through it better, and hopefully also usually get you a better outcome. And while you were talking about a contentious divorce, I got a text from a client who has just started with me about a month ago, who asked, can you define what a narcissist is? Because often they go together. So
that is true. Absolutely. So my website, Narcissist Abuse Support, is only about narcissists. So a narcissist, or someone with narcissistic personality disorder, is someone that can't feel empathy, can't self-reflect, can't be a normal human. There's this competitiveness inside of them. They have to be right. They have to be smart. They have to be the best. And so in divorce, those manifest in a way that they've got to take everything from you. And we're going to be talking about gaslighting in a little while. That's one of the ways that the narcissists do it, to knock you off balance, but to smear your name. That's not normal in divorce, especially after a 40-year divorce, that your ex is coming in and just making up things, right? A narcissist is someone with a severe personality disorder, but it's a deficiency in able to cope with life the way other people are, meaning I have empathy for others. I will be careful with what I say. I will, all the good person rules do not apply to a narcissist.
Right. And sometimes it's just common sense, quite honestly, because if you're behaving like that and you have kids, and obviously you're trying to make it public that you're such a hero and you're the victim, we'll talk about that as well. It's kind of a logic. Why would I want to hurt my kids that way? But sometimes that just doesn't even kind of resonate with people, that might be happening, or that they just might not see it as an issue. Just also something. So contentious divorce, divorcing a narcissist, and I'm going to throw this out. Not everybody likes when I do. Not everybody getting divorced or who you are divorcing is a narcissist. We've spoken about this more than once. But it doesn't mean they don't have narcissistic tendencies. And obviously that is part of the behavior that you've got to contend with during that divorce. And again, it's not an easy process, but having a plan, knowing how to work with a narcissist and how to kind of position things with a narcissist is incredibly important. And that's where I always recommend someone like Tracy, who is going to help you because of all the research she's done. And it's, quite honestly, every time we speak, I learn something, if not three. So I love that. And so just moving into more of our topic now that we've kind of built the parameters of what we're talking about, or the divorces that we're talking about. What is, guys, gaslighting in divorce? That's another buzzword. Oh, I'm being gaslighted, but what is it really? And is it a narcissistic tendency, I guess?
Narcissists use it as a tactic, but it is not only given to narcissists. They literally, I call it their love language. I mean, it's how they speak, it's how they think. Their mind is always thinking about this sort of thing, but it is an insidious form of mind control and verbal abuse. It is designed to make victims question their instincts, what they saw, what they heard, what they lived. They were your spouse for 40 years. They know the truth. And now you're just trying to rewrite it with this gaslighting, which is just to make up stuff. And, in most cases, it is to, again, confuse the victim, but they also start to lose themselves, because you don't really understand where the line is, and it's repetitive over and over. And I tell this story about gaslighting with my ex-husband during our marriage. Yeah. When we first got married, he had all these American Express points, and he went and bought $13, $14, $100 gift cards to Home Depot. He showed them to me, and I never saw them again. And for 10 years of my marriage, I was blamed for losing them. Wow. I know I never touched them. I know you showed them to me, you had the FedEx envelope, and they were gone. But not only did he accuse me of losing them, but his entire family gang gaslit me, saying, oh, you're not that responsible, Tracy. Anytime in 10 years, they would go, we can't trust Tracy because remember the Home Depot dollars. And I'd be like, I had nothing to do with this. You fight, you defend, you're trying to be a truth teller. I didn't do that, right? But it's that level where I finally, after 10 years or somewhere in the middle, just stopped fighting it and just said, okay, whatever. Okay, fine. So that's what a person, no matter what they're trying to gaslight you for, the victims acquiesce and just go, okay, fine, whatever. Or they truly believe it in their soul that they've done something wrong.
Well, tell somebody the same thing like that for 20 years, and it's hard not to believe it, because you think if other people are seeing that, that's how it must be, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe not, but in this case. But unfortunately, it's very difficult to combat that belief, because you're constantly being told that. And every opportunity, I think sometimes that person gets to show you that that's how it is, they will do it. They don't miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity, right? And that can be quite devastating for somebody's self-esteem. And again, that's a lot of where I was talking about earlier. The work comes in, and rediscovering who you are, because you know what? You didn't believe that when you were 5 and 10 and 20. It probably happened, more in this kind of a relationship. And
That's
so
right.
knowing that that person's still there and can still come out is very, very important.
And I think you said something which I wrote down while you were talking. Another way to look at gaslighting is everyone says, well, isn't it just a lie that I didn't touch the Home Depot dollars? That's a lie. Yes, it is a lie, but it goes beyond that. It goes to control my mind, to make me doubt myself.
Right.
And after years of this, in many of these controlled situations, the people become a shell of themselves because what they thought they saw, heard, or felt isn't real. And that makes you really messed up.
Right. And the progression, sometimes I work with people and they're like, how did it get to this? It's 20 years later, right? How did it get to this? And, it doesn't happen overnight, which is so important. It starts off with a little bit of doubt, or maybe you can combat it a little bit, and then all of a sudden it becomes a little bit normal. And then you start to actually doubt yourself. Maybe I'm not the person I thought I was, or as accomplished, or as, competent, or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden it's not doubt, now it's belief. But that doesn't take a week or a month. That happens sometimes over years. And now it's been several years that I've had this belief in myself as not being as good, or not being as enough of a spouse or a parent or whatever it might be. And that's sometimes how it happens. And if you kind of think back to that and kind of do the chronology of how it happened, I think sometimes I find that can help you, because you start to see the pattern of the other person making you feel or believe that. I mean, love your comment on that. So,
well, I think you have to look at gaslighting and all of this kind of control, because that's a millionth of all the tactics that a person with NPD would, do during a divorce. But you have to look at it as they are latching on because they don't want the truth to be known. They are making up stuff so that you are fighting that battle and defending the lies while they're off here hiding the money. So it is almost in divorce, it is a distraction in many cases. And so you have to look at it through different lenses, because there's different times. In the beginning, and I'm being blamed of Home Depot dollars for 10 years, that has nothing to do with what's going to happen in the divorce. That has just programmed me to doubt myself, right? And I kept fighting it until I didn't. So then they thought, oh, we won. We got her. And now we're ready to divorce her and make it into a big game.
So, and for them, sometimes it is a game, right? The win is a game for them, versus really where you are on the other side. You're not playing that same game. And I think that's where Tracy comes in so strong, is understanding we have very different approaches to this divorce. I've got one approach because I just want to survive. I just want to not be decimated at the end of this. They're not in the same mindset always. And that becomes very important. Or they're also believing very differently. They don't ever need anyone. And, they're better than everyone. So they'll always bounce back. You're not always believing that when you're getting divorced. And that's there's a chasm in that dynamic that is important to understand, because it's important how you handle the process. You can't handle your process based on what you're feeling. You've got to handle the process based on who the person you're divorcing is. And that becomes a very big difference in being able to go through this successfully or not successfully sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Divorce is not a good time for anybody. But when you are divorcing a high conflict person, put on your safety belt, because you are going for a ride. And the person that you are divorcing is not the person you were married to. It's going to be like this monster comes out of the human shell. And you're like, who is that person, male or female? They can be so destructive. And gaslighting has such an important role in their destruction, because when they gaslight in divorce, they're not just gaslighting you with the Home Depot dollar story. They are gaslighting their lawyer, lying to them, telling them you're this evil person and have to be destroyed. They're doing that to the judge, to the mediators, to the GALs and the PRE, to the children, to your friends, to your neighbors, and to your therapist if you're unlucky enough to have had to go to marriage counseling with them, right? They are just going to lie all over the place so that, they are controlling the narrative. That's what we have to remember.
They're good at it. That's part of it. They've been doing it for so long. They become very good at it. They can be dynamic. They can be charismatic. They can be very, very convincing. Anyway, I wish we don't have to go to a break, but we do. So before we do, how can people get in touch with you and learn more?
My website is narcissistabusesupport.com. It's on the screen right now. And all of my social and everything is there. So track me down. It's all there.
And I encourage you to go there. There's amazing resources there at narcissistabusesupport.com. And you can get in touch with Tracy, which I recommend as well. But there's courses, there's blogs, there's everything that you can imagine. There's free resources, something else we've spoken about. So please reach out to Tracy, or you can reach me through lifecycle.financial, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network. I am Hirsch Serman, your host of the Financial Wellness Hour. You can reach me through lifecycle.financial. Our guest today is Tracy Malone. We're talking about gaslighting and divorce. And boy, there's a lot we've covered. I'm going to cover some. I don't think I can get to all. And firstly, you started with your story and how you kind of got into it and how this eureka of, wow, the people in my life and narcissists are one and the same. I thought that was very telling, obviously, of what your divorce was like, but also having to deal with somebody. We spoke about a contentious divorce. We spoke about who a narcissist is. That's not gender specific, by the way. We spoke about gaslighting as a whole, but we obviously focused on the divorce side. Why do people gaslight is something that we need to get into, but we also spoke about the progression of it and how it gets to where it is and how it helps you to self-doubt and ultimately believe the things that sometimes are told to you. We start to not just doubt ourselves, but kind of our reality becomes a little bit of in doubt as well. And I know I've missed a lot of things because that did not cover 20 minutes, but let's talk a little bit more on this as to why do they gaslight? Why can't they just say, look, here's the reality, here's what it, why do they have to actually go through all of that?
Well, they hate to lose, and so they have to manipulate everything, the system included. So they start by gaslighting you, like in the marriage where I was. If I had not fallen for the Home Depot dollar story, I probably would have divorced 10 years earlier. I was good bait, right? But in a divorce, they are trying to control that narrative. We have to remember that. So they have to be the hero, so they have to attack, right? They're doing this to silence you, to degrade you, to chastise you, to isolate you, to make you feel like you're questioning your own sanity, right? And they love the drama. They love that they are torturing you. I've been watching a movie called The Good Place lately, and there's like all these devils and demons like abusing people. And that's what it feels like is a narcissist's goal is to take you down. And a divorce is a threat to their persona, their public image. So they have to project that they are the stronger, they are the good one. They can't let anyone know they've done anything wrong. So they gaslight the whole entire world about what really happened and lie that you were the bad one. And they project that onto people.
And is there a specific personality that kind of, and I'm using air quotes for those listening to the podcast, that fall for the narcissist? Is there, who do they gaslight? Who is their target, if you can call it?
Who is the narcissist target?
Yeah.
codependent, loving, people-pleasing, spiritual, forgiving. They are looking for someone that will give them many more chances every time they screw up. They are looking for someone, I'm not going to say weaknesses because it was me too, but don't know what a narcissist is. Again,
Right.
my whole life didn't know what it was. I am perfect to not know the games that are happening, right? They're looking for vulnerable souls that they can manipulate. And, it's not just the evil manipulation that we talk about. The manipulation is on and off. So sometimes they're horrible. Sometimes that love bombing stage. I thought my husband loved me more than anyone in the world. I really believe that. I just didn't see the countering of the weird behavior until we were getting a divorce.
And often there's pieces of that would be referred to as a trauma bond.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are speaking to a therapist, I would certainly ask you to have a discussion around that and if it applies to you, because understanding that as well can become a very, very big piece to your recovery and how to kind of manage through the changes in that behavior as well.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a topic that I know the Wikipedia version of, but I think is very important. And I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about DARVO. And does it connect to the gaslighting and how?
Well, DARVO is an acronym. Again, I call this the love language of a narcissist because it stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And basically, any accusations you make of them, you stole money, boom, they deny it, they turn it around and attack you, and you're the victim, and they just reverse it. They just they're the victim of everything, right? So how it applies is this is their narrative to take the gaslighting to the next level because they're the victim. So they have to do this to protect themselves. And so it's quite aligned with the gaslighting world because by denying and reversing the victim and offender, you are gaslighting someone because they are the offender, but they're everyone else. They're the victim and you are the bad guy. So
I think, sorry, go ahead, finish.
By virtue, that is gaslighting.
And I think, what you had spoken about earlier is so much of it is a distraction and deflection to what's really going on. Mm-hmm. I'm always the victim. No, I'm not. I'm just perpetrating things now in a way that I can claim the victim. I can claim you the offender. I can, you stepped, with your left foot first instead of your right. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. But I think this whole concept and thinking about it in that way, how much do they deny? Do they ever apologize? How much do they attack you on things, often not even related to the conversation? Mm-hmm. That becomes a very big one. You bring something up and they're like, oh, but you, all of a sudden it's a whole different conversation and you've lost that. As opposed to being able to say, I have no problem speaking about that after we finish this conversation. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's not a nice thing to say to a narcissist. No. They don't like that because now all of a sudden there's accountability, but all of a sudden now they're going to be the victim. Now you're going to be the offender. These are things that are just very prevalent that I think you need to understand. So what can people do? I'm faced with this. I've come to this realization. Now what?
Well, I think first of all, you have to know what it sounds like. I want to give you a couple of divorce ways it sounds, which is I will divorce you if I will destroy you if you divorce me. You will never get any money. There is no money. That's a lie. You will not get anything. You will never see your kids again. So for people who are going, well, how does it really sound? In divorce, those are common, right? And then what do they do? First of all, I think it's really, I was like, what's the other question? First, the reason they're if you're actually in contact with them during the divorce, it's best not to even argue with them. It's like, talk to the hand. Don't let them see that they are getting to you, because that only causes them to smile inside and push the gas pedal harder. So never showing emotions, just not acknowledging it, not fighting it, because that's supply. That's what we call them. They just get so happy when they know they've gotten to you. But I think what we need to understand is the lies that they're telling, and I air quoted that, the lies that they are telling, if they make it into the court, you will have to defend some of them. They're telling the world you're a bad parent. This is where the legal system changes everything, because they deal in facts and truth. But the only way they're going to get to facts and truth is if you document. If you document everything. And I know this is like the last thing people need to understand, but if they are lying about you, you have to show the court you are a good parent. And everything else that they're lying about, you stole money. Show me where I stole it. Whatever the accusations are, you have to be able to defend it, because it's a different thing than if they're doing it in your living room and accusing you of stealing Home Depot dollars versus you are a bad parent, or you stole money, or you manipulated them for whatever reason they're going to make up. You have to be able to defend it. And that takes evidence of the truth, really.
And to remember, I think feelings mean nothing to them. As you said earlier, it's all fact. You've got to go with facts, and you've got to be able to black and white. There's no gray. That's just not allowed, right? So how can somebody work with you? I mean, obviously, I encourage people to reach out and learn from your website, but talk about a little bit of working with you and some of the things that you can help people with.
Well, I coach people through their divorce, and after 11 years, 12 years of doing this and writing a book on divorcing a narcissist, I know the counter punches. They're doing this. Why are they doing this, Tracy? Would you rather ask me why they're doing it psychologically and what their game is and how you defend yourself? Or would you like to spend $500? And the lawyer's going to go, I don't know why they're doing it. But right. There's always a counter punch. There's always something that you have to understand. They're doing this. We have to do that. Or this is why they're telling everyone you're a bad parent. We got to handle it and show this part, right? So someone to guide you. And I coach one-on-one all over the world. I have clients in Dubai, all over the world. And so divorce is divorce. And even though the Dubai rules were much cooler than ours, you have to be divorced within 6 months or you go to jail, which is kind of harsh. But wouldn't it be nice if divorces were over in 6 months? I like that. But, I do coach, and you can find all that stuff on my website. And then my book is called Divorcing Your Narcissist. You Can't Make This Shit Up. So that you can find on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere you want to find it.
And again, I encourage everybody, go to Tracy's website, narcissistabusesupport.com. So important. Reach out to her, read, get her book, courses, everything that you can imagine. And I think that having that counterpunch, knowing almost what to expect sometimes, and how to respond to that timely and appropriately, that it doesn't blow everything up and flare up, is another thing that helps you through that process. And we are running over, so I've got to go straight into thank you. I always appreciate your view. I learn every time, and I encourage people to go. There's so much that you can learn from Tracy Malone. I am Hirsch Serman, the host of the Financial Wellness Hour. Please reach out to me through my website, lifecycle.financial. Again, that's lifecycle.financial. Or you can go to narcissistabusesupport.com for Tracy. I want to thank Silverio in the background for all the magic, just making this so easy to do and have a wonderful conversation. And I look forward to you joining me on my next show. And Tracy, again, thank you for waking up so early. I appreciate that very much. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and we'll speak to you soon.